Hello fellow string teachers. My name is Cynthia Richards. I have been teaching in my own private studio for over 50 years. Wow. And I also have been teaching college level string pedagogy for over 30 years. The only reason I'm saying that is so that you'll know that I have been down the road a little ways and I have been in your shoes, wanting to give my own students a really solid music education and still turn them into really excellent violinists, right? So as I was going through the various stages of my own teaching experience, probably the most valuable information I received along the way came from the work of Hungarian music educator and composer Zoltán Kodály. His work was done in the middle of the 20th century and continues, especially in Hungary, and also has become a worldwide movement in many countries as people have seen the value of it. So over the last 25 years I have been using the principles taught by Kodály and his associates in my own string curriculum. And I'm so happy with the results of it that I wanted to share them with you. My guess is that there might be several reasons why you are watching this teacher training course. Perhaps you have heard something about Kodály and his work and want to learn how you might apply it to your own teaching. Or maybe you had an experience that was similar to mine when I started college as a violin performance major, only to find out that there were oral skills that I was supposed to have, which no one had ever taught me to that point. There was a piece of my musicianship that was missing, and it would certainly have helped me if I had learned it along the way. So my thought was, well, why not teach students these things, these skills, from the very beginning, like they do in the Kodály world? Maybe you're not satisfied with your own teaching, or maybe you're just looking for some new ideas. Whatever the reason, I think you'll find the way of teaching that I'm going to show you will fill in some of the gaps as you teach your students to become complete musicians, hence the name of this curriculum. And what I mean by this is that you will want them to not only be able to finger and bow well and sound good, you want them to understand musical structure and to be able to play musically. As far as the literacy is concerned, you want them to be able to hear in their head what they see on the page. You want them to hear in their head what they are going to play. You don't want them to just only hear what they just played. And in order to do all those things, they will need to have educated ears. And so that is what a Kodály approach to music literacy is all about: smart ears. So here we have, most of us, or I learned a traditional method by, in order to play, I had to read the notes. So I call that read the note and play it, right? So read the note and play it. And so that means what you're doing is you're having to look at it, and then you're going to create a sound that symbol has just described, right? And then along came Mr. Suzuki with a mother tongue approach, teaching children to play from hearing, not from sight. Oh, I was going to put, so this is sight to sound, but here they're going to play from what's in their environment, from what they are hearing, either from their teacher or from their mother or from a recording. And so now they are going to be learning how to play a piece or a song from sound. So this is the sound to sound learning process. A Kodály approach would be teaching the children how to sing first. For Zoltán Kodály, he says the first instrument is the singing voice, because that's what's going to develop their inner hearing, right? So they're going to sing the song, usually through a singing game, and then right in here we're going to teach them either the rhythmic symbol or the melodic symbol for that sound, so they'll recognize it then on the staff and then be able to read it. So we call this approach the sound to sight approach. So you can see that they're quite different from each other. This one is, since they're having to read it, as you know, all the children, reading can be pretty laborious sometimes, so it takes cognitive skills. So this is way cognitive. And because it is cognitive, it tends to slow down their technique, so it takes a while to be able to do the reading before they can do the playing, right? This one is intuitive. It's just in their environment, so I call that quick technique. They can get it on the instrument right away. Same thing here. The singing is very intuitive, and when you transfer to the instrument, it can also go down very quickly, and then it gets cognitive as we teach them the symbols. So I'm glad I have the two here, because in our program we teach two learning tracks that go on simultaneously. We have the technique track and we have the literacy track. They speak to each other, but they are independent of each other, so that you can give a child whatever it is that they need to be working on. But if you know which one you're teaching, are you teaching technique or am I teaching literacy, that's going to determine the approach at the moment that you're going to be using. So over here we have this subject, the traditional, we have the subject logic approach, which in the old days started with a whole note, then you divided that in half to a half note, then of course the quarters and the eighths. It's totally logical, right? But not, it's certain to kill any enthusiasm for playing, because children work better in running steps. They are used to moving quickly, not with extended, slow bow strokes, and so that could be death. To kill that enthusiasm. Rhythmically, Mr. Suzuki, he knew about, what was the easiest to play. So here's these short strokes, tick, tack, tack, tap, tap. And again, this was a copy thing, though. There's no real rhythm syllables here to be learning how to recognize that on the page. But it is child developmental, technically. Over here, the first element is the beat, and so the quarter note, the ta, is the first rhythmic element, and then we go to the eighth notes and so on. But here, the French syllables are used which indicate duration, and so a child can learn how to say a rhythm very easily and intuitively using the French syllables. Over here is, I had never heard of solfa or solmization when I was growing up, but it's not to say that it couldn't be referred to, but there's actually no real connection of the intervals when children are just learning between what they're seeing on the page and what they're going to finger on the instrument. In other words, they're going to put down a finger, and that's what the instruction they're getting from here. Also, there's no solfa melodic structure being taught here, and so I say that there's no hearing here, but so now what's being developed here is an outer hearing. So they're very good at copying their teacher or the recording, and even matching tones to play it in tune, but it's out there. Over here, since we're using movable do solfa, and we're starting with the singing voice as the first instrument, this is where the inner hearing is being developed, right? And so what the net result of all of this is that this is resulting in a visual literacy without necessarily any connection here. And here there is no literacy unless the teacher, the Suzuki teacher, brings in some kind of note reading curriculum, probably from this read the note and play it kind of learning process. And then over here, what we have is we have this very organic connection of the notes on the page with the sounds in their head. So I call this oral literacy, and that's what I'm after.